Hello, hello.
Is it on? It's on.
I just turned it off again.
Yeah, it's just muted to the room so you can talk to
Hello, 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 hello,
Let me turn it on.
hello.
1 second.
Oh, 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 oh. Hello, hello. Hola, hola,
I can hear
hola,
you. I
hola,
can.
hola, hola. Hola, hola, hola.
Muted again. All right, it should be on.
Hola, hola, hola.
All right.
Hello, hello.
And just know anything you say in the mic will be streamed too.
Good morning and happy Friday. Welcome to our ICAT Playdate. This is our Friday before spring break, so we're so glad you're here. My name is Phyllis Newbill. I am the Associate Director of Youth and Community Education in one of several centers within ICAT. I'm in the Center for Educational Networks and Impacts. Today we're going to hear from another of the centers at ICAT. A few housekeeping things though before we get started. We are streaming this morning, so good morning if you're watching us online. Or if you're watching it later, whatever time of day it is for you. We are streaming, so this will exist online afterwards, so that's good for you to know. Please enjoy pastries and coffee and tea. They are here. In order for us to justify snacks and drinks, we have a clipboard that will go around. We'd love for you to sign in to let us know that you're here. Winnie, the pup, is here wandering around, so if you see a dog, that's supposed to happen. That's normal. She belongs here. If you are Virginia Tech faculty and PDN, or Professional Development Network credit, is helpful to you, make sure that you sign up for this event. You can use a QR code on the clipboard when it comes around, or you can go through your usual processes and then make eye contact with me or come talk to me if I don't know your name yet. I see you, Scott. I got you. And I will give you credit for that. When you have questions, just wait for us to get to you with the microphone so that folks online can hear. And if you're online, glad you're there. You can use the questions link, and we'll be monitoring that form to see if there are questions there. So hope we'll have some time for questions at the end. In terms of announcements this morning, we do have the new music and tech. It is spring break next week first. That's the most important thing. So no play date next week, but we'll be back the week after that. And after we get back, the New Music and Technology Festival is March 24th and 25th with concerts at 7:30 in the Cube. If you have questions about that, Eric Lyon is here and he can answer all of them. All right, I'm going to turn it over this morning to Ralph Hall, who is the director of the Center for the Future of Work and some other things. I'm going to let you do all the rest of the introductions from here because I'm going to mess everything else up. So thank you, Ralph. Glad you're here.
So good morning, everybody. So I'm the acting director this year for the Center for Future Workplaces and Practices. One of the things we do every year is provide seed grants over the summer for faculty and students who are looking to explore research at the frontiers of workplace and practice. And so today, I'm very excited to introduce 4 speakers. We have 3 of our graduate students who were funded last summer, and we have faculty members. So they each have about 5 minutes to talk about everything they were doing with these grants. And so I'm going to just introduce them briefly, and then we'll dive straight in. So our first speaker is Shuku Bozorg-Marian, who is a doctoral candidate in human factors and product design here at Virginia Tech. And she will talk about inferring user state for adaptive instruction in intelligent augmented reality. Our second speaker is Gala Lucia Gonzalez Barrios, who is a doctoral candidate in interdisciplinary studies with a focus on human-centered design. She will be talking about singing without a larynx, a vowel-based real-time interface for embodied vocal performance. We will then go virtual, and we'll have Sadra Rajabi, who is a doctoral candidate in industrial and systems engineering. He will talk about the development and evaluation of vision language models for physical exposure assessment in occupational manual material handling. And then we'll come back in the room and we'll have Dr. Arturia Melson-Silimon, who is an assistant professor in the Department of Psychology at Virginia Tech. And she'll be talking about daily workplace experiences among women of color with ADHD, the impact of workplace stigma on sleep and well-being. So we will be running the summer grants again this summer. So keep an eye out for announcement, hopefully by the end of March. And you can see today the great stuff that happens from these seed grants. So without further ado, I will pass over to our first speaker. And if you could speak into the mic, then everyone online can hear as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I am Shoku, and I am one of the PhD candidates at Department of Industrial and System Engineering. And I will be presenting the project that was supported by the summer grant named Inferring User States for Adaptive Instruction in Intelligent Augmented Reality. Well, adaptive instructions in Intelligent Augmented Reality was very used and explored for complex tasks like assembly, like using them in the industrial setting, because the complex assembly tasks require expertise and novice users usually lack partial or complete expertise or knowledge to complete the task and the steps of the task in real time. And the main question that we wanted to answer was how an intelligent augmented reality system can infer user state to dynamically adapt instruction details for them in real time. And my work was focused on context-aware adaptive interface, and for that we needed to first define input and output data type. That we started by defining that we have a source of data that we are collecting from the user that would focus on expertise shortcoming. We would then look at the procedural task that is fixed tool assembly, and we will use this input data for being analyzed and in an IR system for real-time adaptation, and then deliver the output data for adaptive AR interface that would be the image or interface that would see in their headset. That would actually be the level of details that the instruction is adapting in real time for them. The main keywords are how, and then we can infer a user state and dynamically adapt. Our context-aware adaptive interface was focused on procedural task that was about a fixed tool assembly. Our tool was one of the commonly used tool, which is very hard to assemble, and the assembly ones that you can see up there, the manual ones are really complex. So we tried to debrief and then abstract the instruction into many levels that would eventually come up as part two and correct a use of the instruction step. And then we had this user that we tried to have indicative measures to identify the task shortcomings, and we selected type of mistakes and the task performance score to understand their expertise, and we categorized them into expert, medium expert, and non-expert users. And there we go. We had an overall workflow that would try to understand each step by information about the part, tool, and correct use, have this data as an input for the task performance score, and then the task performance score would be categorized into user state, expert, medium expert, or non-expert. And then with this context window that helps us in each step understand where our user is standing, we could define and use this data to define the level of details, minimum, maximum, or moderated level of detail in the adaptive AR interface. Our prototype was developed based on Meta interfaces in Meta Quest 3. And the software that we used to have this application developed was Unity 6 and Meta All-in-One SDK. And our prototype, which you can see some sort of schematic view of that, was designed based on the modules that we had from the instruction, and we use a hand grab interaction to just support putting the pan of the instruction anywhere that they wanted in the real time in their interface, so it wouldn't occlude their working environment. And we had virtual instruction panel that showed a step navigation, tool and part information, dynamic level of detail adaptation, which eventually we tried to have this context window that we designed as a Wizard of Oz method. You can see that our interface that we have a schematic view of here could change from a minimum level of detail to maximum and then maximum to minimum. So it can understand, even based on our user's real-time state, where to adapt and put the information. And then, thank you. And I would like to appreciate the support of this grant, which helped us develop and focus on this project in the summer.
Hi everyone. I won't be able to switch my slides myself. Slide. I always wanted to say slide, please, slide, please. Hi everyone, good morning. I'm Gala. I'm gonna slide. I'm going to present an early stage prototype of a singing machine that I'm working on with Dr. Itzo Bookbig slide, and tell you that we're very thankful for the support of the Future Work Student Summer Research Grant that helped us work through this prototype throughout the summer last year. So I was able to present this slide. This first stage of the development in the Conference of Computer Music and Multidisciplinary Research in London last semester. So I'm gonna show you two very short videos. I made them very small because I don't like to see myself on a very big screen, but I think you all can handle it. And I have to leave the microphone, okay? Because I have one hand available. Sorry, thank you. There because I can't watch myself, but that was a first version of it, and the second one it's the version that we presented at the conference slide. We are working now on a new one that incorporated AI modeled voices, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about how this works. Basically, we use computer vision, media pipe, and WebPDLorg to try to recognize the vowels that people are trying to do. We mainly focus on people that have a laryngectomy, that it's basically a survival treatment for larynx cancer, and it means that they don't have their vocal cords, but they can move enough for us to understand vowels, at least vowels with a high level of accuracy. So what we do is that we use a sample-based approach. So the video that you watched, the second one, had samples of my own voice. And so we ran through all the notes of an octave, and we ran through all the vocals. And so we can, right, do the expression that we're trying to sing and get some sound out of it. So we're working on that and, well, fine-tuning a lot of details of sound. Slide. And slide, I'm gonna go through this quickly. This is the architecture of this prototype is very low weight, it's very simple. It's a simple pipeline, so it allows us to stress the system with different design questions that we have around if using a sample-based approach, how we integrate AI modeled voices, among other questions that I will show in the future slide. So a little bit about the demographics and why we're here is that in the USA there are 3,000 new people with laryngectomies every year. From the laryngectomies of the entire world, the 60% of them are construction workers and miners, which is interesting slide because nearly 50% of them do not go back to work, and only 30% of the people that goes back to work are manual labor workers, whereas the 80% of the people that goes back are high-skilled workers. So there's a problem there around these construction workers and miners that lose their jobs, also their larynxes, and then cannot go back to work. When we are conducting a systematic review with 2 universities, our initial findings are that there's no really allocated funds for this type of disabilities side. So we are focusing on asking a few questions about how we can work around identity restitution, the sense of self, organic voices, creative expressiveness. These are questions that aren't usually in the center of what we ask when we design prosthetic devices for people that lost their larynxes. So there are a few solutions for recovering a voice, yet people feel very alienated. So more to present in the following months about this research slide. But we're also working with the STS department to understand a bit more about the philosophy of design and how to move forward from a deficit-based approach around disabilities and focus more on creative agency, on the voice as a metaphor. How can we improve the voice of these workers, but also the metaphoric voice of the workers that need better labor contracts, for example. So I'm going to finish here today for the sake of time, but thank you so much for the support again and for listening to me this morning. And thank you to Dr. Bookvik, my co-developer in this. And yeah, let's continue.
Mohammed, you're good to go whenever you're ready.
Yes. Okay. Hello, everyone. Today, my presentation is titled Development and Evaluation of Vision Language Models for Physical Exposure Assessment in Occupational Manual Material Handling. Just a brief introduction about next slide. Yeah, okay. My name is Mohammad Sadr Rajabi. I completed my bachelor's and master's in civil engineering at the University of Tehran. The master thesis was focused on earthquake emergency safety training. And then I applied to Virginia Tech. I got a Master of Engineering in ISC, and currently I'm a last semester PhD candidate in Industrial and Systems Engineering. My research is focused on application of AI in ergonomic risk assessment. Next slide, please. Yeah, I wanted to make a pause here. Currently, I'm talking about the safety-related research, but my family and all our people are in an unsafe situation in Iran right now due to the attack. I wanted just to make a pause here, and please, next slide. Yeah, unfortunately, many civilians got affected, including 168 student girl have been killed a few days ago due to this attack. Just wanted to dedicate my presentation to them. Next slide, please. So work-related musculoskeletal disorders continue to pose substantial health and economic challenge across industries. And among physical tasks, manual material handling tasks are one of the major contributors to increased level of WMSD. Although there are some traditional methods to quantify the level of exposure to these physical activities, all of them are coming with some shortcomings, and we need more effective tools to overcome those shortcomings, such as the user discomfort or the subjectivity. Next slide, please. So we anticipated that AI, specifically vision language models, can overcome some of those shortcomings. What are VLMs? VLMs are a subset of multimodal large language models that can interpret both visual information and text information through our vision encoder and text encoder. These encoders transform the data into their corresponding embedding space, and these embeddings pass through a large language model to generate the target output. It can be a label, it can be a description, or even generating a new video. Next slide, please. So what we did, we recruited 36 participants, and all of them performed a symmetric box lifting. And we time synchronized 3 cameras in our lab. And next slide, please. And using these recorded video files, we wanted to estimate the horizontal and vertical hand distances during these lifts. These parameters are one of the most important parameters to estimate the level of ergonomic risk in the lifting using the revised NIOSH lifting equation. So the goal here was to estimate the H and V out of those RGB video. Next slide, please. So we designed this pipeline, which is based on available vision language model online, such as Grounding Dino and SAM by Meta AI Lab. What these models do, next slide, please. Out of each RGB frame, first the model identified the person who is lifting the task, and then within that crop of the frame, it identifies the regions of interest, which is hands, box, and shoes in this case. And using these extracted parts, it segment or crop out these regions of interest from each frame. And using these visual information, the model can capture and estimate the horizontal and vertical hand distances here. Using this pipeline that we developed, we achieved 6 to 8 centimeter for estimating the horizontal hand distances and 4 to 8 centimeter for the vertical hand distances. This exceeded the state-of-the-art result reported in previous studies. Next slide, please. There are many details about our research. I would like to invite you to visit the online paper that is under review right now. And I would like to thank the grant that helped us during last summer. Thank you so much.
Hi everyone, my name is Arturia Melson-Silliman. I am a current assistant professor in the Department of Psychology and the director of the Advancing Identity Management Lab. So today I'm going to be talking about preliminary findings for a study looking at experiences of women of color with ADHD. So just some background in terms of gaps in the relevant literature. So it is estimated that 15.5 million US adults are diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. And in the context of work, it is estimated that 30% of working age adults with ADHD are currently experience chronic underemployment. And so because of that, there has been a rise in research in organizational psychology on how we can better address challenges of this working population and how we can assist organizations to better recruit, select, and retain individuals with ADHD. However, on the other side of that, in clinical psychology and psychiatric areas, we know that there continues to be sex-related disparities in diagnosis and treatment, primarily because pre-existing diagnostic models have relied on predominantly male samples. And we know that there are differences in symptom presentation, with young men and boys being more likely to be hyperactive types and women and girls being more likely to be inattentive or combined types. We also know through socialization from a very young age. Girls are taught to people please, and that a lot of the symptoms of ADHD conflict with what we view women and girls to be like. And so combining that within organizational psychology, less is known on intersectional experiences of women of color with ADHD at work. And so the current work draws from intersectional models of stereotyping to understand how women of color with ADHD have to navigate different intersecting stereotypes. So masking is defined as behaviors aimed to appear more neurotypical. So examples include being hypervigilant in eye contact when going through interpersonal interactions. This can also mean working longer to mitigate symptoms related to executive functioning, so staying longer, trying to mitigate issues with task initiation. And so within the literature, masking is linked to self-reported risk of burnout as well as depressive symptoms. So the current study has three overarching research questions. The first is, does anticipated ADHD stigma predict workplace masking at a daily level? The next is, how does anticipated stigma of one's racial and gender identity interact with this link? And lastly, a lot of research related to masking has been at the between-level analysis, so looking at general masking behaviors and outcomes. However, I'm interested in daily-level effects. So how does masking during the day predict worsened sleep health the following day? So in terms of our pilot data, we recruited 38 participants using the Children and Adults with ADHD online participant portal. They were first given an initial recruitment survey and asked if they would be willing to complete or engage in a 10-day daily diary study in which they completed 2 surveys each day for 10 consecutive work days. So each night, they completed a adapted daily version of the adult ADHD masking measure. So it included a list of different types of masking behaviors, and they were asked to respond yes or no to each of them each night. And the following morning, they completed the sleep diary so that they could report their sleep quality and quantity for that previous night. So in terms of preliminary results, we found that there were high compliance rates, which suggests that measuring masking at that daily level is feasible. Additionally, participants reported overall a high mean level of masking, again at the within or daily level of about 22.9. Again, that speaks to the feasibility of measuring at a within level. And lastly, related to our research question, we did find a significant within-person correlation between masking reported during the day and objective sleep quantity, suggesting that there was a negative correlation. So for days where people were masking, their sleep duration was shorter the following night. And so using this pilot data, we were able to secure an additional $3,000 foundation award to continue this work and collect more data with hopes to publish this work as well as apply to larger grant mechanisms. So I want to thank the Center for Future Workplaces and Practices for the Summer Seed Grant, as well as my collaborators, Dr. Ashley Hsu, Dr. Charles Calderwood, and Jessica Gass. And then for any questions, please email me. Thank you.
Thank you so much to everyone who just presented. We are actually right at time, so I'm going to go ahead and encourage you to continue your conversations in person and please continue to enjoy pastries and coffee. And thank you all so much for being here today. I hope you have a fabulous spring break, and we'll see you after spring break for our next Playdate. Thanks for being here.